The human brain. The human brain may be the most extraordinary object in the known universe. Hidden inside the darkness of the human skull is a biological network more complicated than anything humanity has ever built. Billions of neurons communicate through electrical and chemical signals. Every thought you have, every memory you remember, every emotion you feel, every movement your body makes is connected to activity inside this extraordinary. And yet, there is something even more mysterious. You are aware of only a tiny fraction of what your brain is doing. Right now, while you listen to these words, your brain is processing sound, recognizing language, connecting those words to memories, predicting what comes next, and monitoring your body. Most of that activity never enters your conscious awareness. It happens silently, behind the scenes. And perhaps the strangest question is this: if most of the brain is working without our awareness, then who is really in control? The unconscious mind. We like to believe that we understand our own mind. We imagine a simple sequence. First, we think. Then we make a decision. And finally, we act. It feels completely natural, but the reality is far more complicated. Before you become consciously aware of a decision, your brain may already be processing information related to that decision. Memories can influence, emotions can influence you. Past experiences can influence you. Habits can influence you. Even the environment around you can quietly change what seems attractive, dangerous, important, or desirable. The unconscious brain is not sitting quietly in the background. It is working predicting, filtering, comparing, calculating, preparing, and sometimes it may begin preparing an action before you even realize that you have decided to act. Millions of hidden inside your brain, billions of neurons are communicating every second. Tiny electrical signals travel through enormous networks. Chemical messengers cross microscopic gaps between cells. Together, these signals allow you to see, to hear, to speak, to remember, to feel, and to move. But the brain is doing much more than creating thoughts. It is also regulating the systems that keep you alive. Your heart continues beating without you telling it to. Your lungs continue breathing while you sleep. Your body constantly adjusts its temperature. Your digestive system continues working. Your immune system responds to threats. And your brain monitors all of it. You don't need to sit down and give your heart instructions. You don't need to remind yourself to breathe every few seconds. The system simply operates. And this gives us our first important clue. Perhaps the conscious mind is not the boss of the entire brain. Perhaps consciousness is only one part of a much larger system. The illusion of choice. Every day, you make hundreds of decisions. What should I eat? What should I watch? Where should I go? Who should I call? What should I say? These choices feel personal. They feel voluntary. They feel like they come directly from you. But behind every decision is a complicated mixture of influences. Your previous experiences, your memories, your emotions, your habits, your expectations, your surroundings, and countless signals inside your brain. Imagine standing in front of two choices. You look at both. You think about them. And eventually, you choose one. It feels as though there was a little person inside your head who looked at the options and made the final decision. But neuroscience raises a disturbing possibility. What if there is no little commander? What if the decision is produced by many different processes working together? And what if the feeling of choosing is itself something your brain creates? Scene 5. Who is in control? For thousands of years, humans have asked what makes us who we are. What is the self? Where does consciousness come from? And is there something inside us that controls everything? We often imagine the brain as a control room. A central commander sits somewhere behind the eyes. It watches the world. It makes decisions. And it tells the rest of the brain and body what to do. But scientists have searched for this commander. and they have not found one. Instead, they have found networks. Different regions perform different functions. Some process vision. Some process sound. Some regulate emotions. Some help create memories. Some control movement. Some predict what will happen next. And all of these systems communicate with one another. They compete. They cooperate. They influence one another. So perhaps the feeling of being one unified person does not come from a single controller. Perhaps it emerges from the activity of the entire network. Consider something as simple as walking. You decide to stand up. You take a step, then another. It feels effortless. But underneath that simple action is an astonishing amount of computation. Your brain monitors balance. It tracks the position of your body. It estimates distance. It controls muscles. It adjusts your posture. It predicts where your foot will land. And it continuously responds to changes in the environment. You don't consciously calculate any of this. You simply walk. The same thing happens when you reach for a glass. Your brain calculates the location of the glass. Your hand moves toward it. Your fingers open. Then, they close around the object with just enough force to hold it. All of this happens without you consciously controlling every individual muscle. The brain hides the complexity from you. And perhaps that is one of its greatest tricks. It makes extraordinary processes feel completely ordinary. The big question. The deeper scientists look into the brain, the stranger the question becomes. If so much of our behavior is influenced by unconscious processes, what exactly does it mean to be in control? Are your conscious thoughts directing your brain? Or is your brain preparing actions before consciousness becomes aware of them? Could the feeling of making a decision arrive after some of the brain's work has already begun? And if that is true, what happens to the idea of free will? These questions have no simple answers. But scientists have discovered something remarkable. By studying sleep, anesthesia, brain injuries, split brain patients, emotions, creativity, and decision-making, we can begin to see what normally remains hidden. And what we discover may completely change the way we think about ourselves. Scene 8. Enter the brain. To understand who we are, we have to look beneath the surface. We have to enter the brain, not as philosophers imagining an invisible soul, but as scientists examining a living biological system. Inside, there is no simple control panel, no tiny person sitting behind your eyes. Instead, there is an enormous network of interacting systems. Some are working together. Others are competing. Some are active. Others are quiet. Some send signals that become conscious thoughts. Others influence behavior without ever becoming conscious. And sometimes, something unusual happens. A particular system stops